Step into the world of RENSHIN SCLASH, where the universe of Kamen Rider battles comes to life. The objective of the game is to destroy all the enemy's shields and capture their maiden. Your chance to forge an unstoppable Kamen Rider squad and defend the honor of your maiden has arrived. Let's begin. You first need a main deck of 40 to 60 RENSHIN cards and utility cards, maximum 3 duplicates of each card, but no limit on level 0 cards. 1 maiden who you will defend, and a deck of 3 to 5 reality, one of which must be neutral. You will also need some damage counter dices, a playmat, and a TCG counter to keep track of your fierce point. There are 4 main card types in RENSHIN SCLASH: RENSHIN card, maiden card, utility card, and reality card. RENSHIN card. RENSHIN cards have 6 levels: pawn card or level 0, base form, change form, super form, final form, and special form, with increasing power and abilities with each form. Now let's take a closer look at our rider. A typical rider card will have the following attributes: the rider name and form, if applicable, on the top left corner. Under the rider's name is the rider's highlight moment in the series. The card level is located on the top right corner. Each rider card will have 3 skills: a passive, an ability, and the finisher. A passive costs 0 fierce point to perform and is usually triggered when the rider is henshin onto the reality. The rider's ability and finisher do cost fierce point to perform, which is indicated within the bracket, as well the type of elemental damage the action applies. On the bottom right is the rider elemental. There are 10 elementals in the game: brute, fire, aqua, cryo, wind, earth, thunder, blight, mecha, and cosmic. On the left edge is the card's serial number, its character type, and rarity. Finally, on the bottom row is the rider's stats. We have the typical attack, defense, and speed. Next is the rider's fierce point. This is how much it costs to henshin the rider onto the reality. Finally is your rider's stamina. This is the number of hit your rider can take before they unhenshin and get sent into the singularity. Maiden card. A maiden is similar to a rider card. However, most maiden cards' stat will be 0, as maiden themselves cannot be part of the battle. However, that doesn't mean that they can't lend a hand or even change the tide. A maiden has 2 abilities: a passive ability and an active ability. Passive ability is usually non-conditional and can be activated at any time during the battle. An active ability, however, is usually conditional and can only be activated when a certain condition is met. Reality card. A rider's battle can't just be in the middle of nowhere, right? A reality card dictates the setting in which the battle occurs and can heavily influence the outcome of the battle. Each reality card will have 2 types of buffs: a passive buff and a conditional buff. A passive buff takes place immediately after the reality is set. A conditional buff, however, only applies once the condition stated on the card is met. Therefore, when building a deck, a player needs to account for the realities that their battle might take place in and whether it will benefit them or their enemies. Utility card. Utility cards can be used at any moment in time and can help turn the tide of the battle in an instant. They can give extra damage, defense, and speed, or conjure a special effect. However, a single rider card can only receive enhancement effects from up to 2 utility cards per turn. RENSHIN playmat. RENSHIN SCLASH is played on a playmat divided up into 6 areas. The top area is the battlefield zone, where the fight between you and your enemy take place. Next is the shield zone, the last line of defense between your enemy and your maiden. Under the shield zone is the maiden zone. On the right is the deck zone, where you will place your main deck. On the left is the reality zone, where you will place your reality deck. Lastly is the singularity zone, where defeated riders are sent to. Setting up for the battle. To start the battle, both players first place their chosen maiden into the maiden zone. Create a separate deck for the reality cards. Shuffle them, then place them in the reality zone. Both players now shuffle their main deck and place it in the deck zone. Take the top 5 cards and place face down in front of your maiden. These are your maiden's shields. Each time a shield is destroyed, the card is sent to your hand, where the card becomes playable. Each player then draws 5 cards. This is your starting hand. If you don't like your hand, you can mulligan and redraw once. Decide who goes first. The player going first cannot attack their first turn. The player going second flips their reality card up. That will be the starting reality that the battle will occur in. Finally, both players increase their Fierce Point reserve to 3. Each turn will comprise of 5 phases: draw phase, jingle phase, attack phase, counter phase, and end phase. Draw phase. During this phase, the player with the turn draws a card. Player can also send 2 cards on their hand to the singularity to draw 1 card from their deck. Fierce Points reserve of the player increases by 1+1 for each level 1 or higher rider on the battlefield, capping at 20 Fierce Points. Jingle phase. During Jingle phase, player can do the following: send a level 1 or higher rider on the battlefield to the singularity to gain 1 Fierce Point. Change rider's position on the field, henshin, or level up a rider. The Fierce Point on the card indicates how much it costs to henshin. Level 0 to level 2 cards can be henshined directly onto an empty battlefield slot. Level 3 and above cards can only be henshined on top of the corresponding level 2 or lower card that is already on the field. You can only henshin cards of the same or higher level, not lower, on top of another card. When a higher level card is placed onto a lower level card, their stamina is reset, removing all damage and crowd control effect from the previous card. Finally, send the previous form card to the singularity, signifying the form change completion. Attack phase. During this phase, the player can attack by choosing the type of attack and what to attack. Normal attack costs 1 Fierce Point and deals the card's attack as damage. Skill attack and finisher cost more Fierce Point. However, they do more damage, and finisher attacks gain 30 extra speed buff for the attack. If there is no rider defending the shield, you can also spend 1 Fierce Point to perform a shield attack. Each rider can perform 1 skill or attack per turn. When performing a shield attack, each attacking rider can only break 1 shield per turn. Some rider possesses a crowd control as their ability. Crowd control can range from slow or poisoned to paralyzed or frozen. Crowd control, like frozen and incapacitated, will prevent rider from moving or repositioning during jingle phase, nor can they dodge or counter during counter phase. Let's zoom out and take a look at the entire battle. Since the middle spot is not guarded by an enemy, Geet's Laser Boost can either destroy the shield directly or perform a combination attack with GM Rider against Gazer to prevent him from becoming more powerful later on. Combination attack. Multiple riders can combine non-finisher or finisher attacks on the same enemy that is adjacent to all attacking riders. When combining attacks, all damages are combined into a single attack. The speed of the attack is the sum of all attackers' speed, and the level of the attack is set to the highest level card among all attackers. Counter phase. Counter phase is when your enemy gets the chance to respond to your attack. If the enemy's rider is being attacked, the enemy now has the chance to either block, counter, or dodge the attack. If the enemy's speed is equal or higher than the attacker's speed, they can also change form or level up. The new rider can then block, dodge, or counter the incoming attack. Because Kamen Rider Gazer has a lower speed than the combination attack of Kamen Rider Geets and GM Rider, this is when utility cards come in handy. Using Boost Buckle, Gazer increases his speed to 45, allowing him to level up to Kamen Rider Regard. As Regard, the enemy can easily block the combined attack. Blocking doesn't cost any Fierce Point to perform. When blocking, compare the blocker's defense with the attack damage. If the defense is equal or higher than the attack, the defense is successful, and the defender takes no damage. However, Regard isn't the type that walks out without a proper fight. His high attack damage allows him to counter Geets and GM Rider's attack. The enemy can counter using normal attack or even skill attack, spending the corresponding Fierce Point. If the counterer's damage is higher than the attacker's damage, the countering enemy deals damage back to the attacker. If both riders' damages are equal, both riders take 1 damage to their stamina, regardless of level differences. If the enemy has high speed stats, they can also dodge the incoming attack. Dodging costs 1 Fierce Point to perform. When dodging, compare the dodger's speed with the attacker's speed. If the dodger's speed is equal or higher than the attacker's speed, the dodge is successful and the dodger takes no damage. Lastly, Kamen Rider Buffa versus Kamen Rider Punkjack. Since the enemy is out of stamina, Punkjack can only block, which subjects him to a 25 attack damage hit. Battle outcome. If a rider loses a block, dodge, or counter, they take damage equals to the winner and loser levels differences to their stamina, with a minimum of 1 damage. When an attack forces a rider to run out of stamina, they and all their lower level forms cards get sent to the singularity. In a combination block, all losing participants take damage. For example, level 4, Kamen Rider regards successful attack against level 2. Kamen Rider Buffa Jamatoi will deal 2 damage. However, level 3, Kamen Rider Geats Laser Boost successful attack against level 4. Kikura Premium only deals 1 minimum damage since Geats level is lower than Kikura. If level 3 Kamen Rider Geats Laser Boost and level 2 Kamen Rider Buffa Jamato perform a successful combination attack against level 4 Kamen Rider Regard, they will deal 1 damage plus 1 bonus damage. When a shield is destroyed, that shield is sent to the attacked player's hand. If that card is a RENSHIN card, the player can choose to play that card immediately onto the empty slot in front of that shield without the need of spending Fierce Point or a lower corresponding level card being on the field. End phase. In this phase, player at turn draw so that their hands hold at least 5 cards. Also, any crowd control duration applied to a rider is reduced by 1 round during the end phase. Both teams will continue to battle until all 5 shields are destroyed and capture the other Maiden. When the Maiden is exposed and there's no protecting rider, and if the attacking player still has a rider available for attacking, the attacking player can then capture the Maiden and declare victory. You are now ready to fight your first RENSHIN SCLASH battle. Master the ability set of each unique Kamen Rider to construct the ultimate Kamen Rider team up. Please check out the official rule on our website for a more in-depth instructions of the game. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the battlefield.